So a file which is nothing but a name placed in a disk, this has a sequence of related data which is stored, right? So in Python, we simply are dealing with the stream of data. We understand it to be a stream of data. So the structure of data is not stored in the file along with the data. The basic operation which you can perform in a file, first you can name a file, and then you can open a file, you can create a file. That means first you can create, open, then whatever is written here you can read from the file, or if you have made a new file you can write to a file, or if file is already there you can append to it, you can modify it, you can update it, you can close the file. So the basic operation that file, or the file operation of file handling which Python provides us, is you can create a file, you can traverse a file, maybe to display the data on the screen from the file, or you can append the data in the file, insert data, delete data, create a copy of a file, and update the data in the file. So Python allows us to create and manage two types of files, text and binary. You might have seen in your computer some say abc.txt. So these are text files. How these are text files? Because if you open that file you are able to read what is there. So the characters are written, means words like this screen which you are watching here is a kind of file. You can understand it to be a kind of file, because why? These are the words you are able to read, and these are nothing but C is an ASCII character. For example, capital A, it's an ASCII character. So ASCII character, because computer doesn't know what A is, computer just know that A means 65. In ASCII, A corresponds to 65, so it will take the binary value and then process it. And we all also know that because Python deals with ASCII, line is a sequence of character. Basically text file is nothing but sequence of lines, and lines is a sequence of character which are written in ASCII, and that can be stored in the storage media. The default character coding in Python is ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange, but by using a constant U with a string, you can also support, or this Python allows you to support Unicode also. As well as we talk about these lines of text file, each line is terminated by a special character /n. We also know it as end of line. This is new line character /n. So if you want to know, or if you want to read a single line, you need to know where it is going to end, and that is going to end by /n. So at the lowest level, text is nothing but the collection of bytes only, and text files are stored in human readable form. As I just said, you are able to read it, and they can be easily created, manipulated by the text editor. How about the binary file? First is the text, second is the binary. Binary file contains arbitrary binary data. That is, the number are stored in the file. The basic crux is a binary file contains numbers, values. So on this file you can perform numerical operations. So when we are working on this binary file, we have to interpret the raw bit patterns which we read from the file into the correct type, whether it is float, where it is the integer, long. So you have to see that it has to be correct type of data in our program. And it's also possible, perfectly possible, to interpret the stream of bytes originally which is written in string as numeric value. You can easily convert it by typecasting. So we know that it will be incorrect interpretation of data, and we are not going to get the desired output after the file processing activity. So this is very important here. In case of binary file, it is extremely important that we interpret the correct data type. This becomes very important when we are reading from the file. And Python provides special modules for encoding and decoding of data from binary file. So Python allows us to create and manage two types of file, text and binary. In order to handle the data types in Python, what we need to do, the first and foremost thing is you need to have a file object. That is a pointer, you can say, a pointer or an indicator, so that by that handle you can work with the file. So object can be created by using this open open function or a file function. So to work on a file, first we need to do is to open the file, and this is done by this open function. And using this function, a file object will be created. This is the file object. This file object we are going to use for performing methods and functions which are available for the file handling or file manipulation. So this syntax, open file name, this is the access mode, and this is the buffering. So open, this function requires 3 arguments to work. First one is the file name, of course, which is the name in the secondary storage media, which can be a string constant or a variable. And this name can also be the path, because it is not always the case that you are working on same directory or you are running this code on the same directory. The file can be anywhere. So you need to give a path. This shows the description of the path where the file is residing, that is the folder or the directory you are working in. The second parameter is the access mode. We are going to talk about this, but the important thing you need to understand is the read, write. You want it to open for reading, writing, appending. These are all the modes. Then comes the buffering. Buffering is the amount which you want to read, how much you want to read. So this function is going to give you, this open function is going to give you a file object. It is going to return you the object. So when we work with a file, a buffer is actually the area in memory where the data is temporarily stored before being written to file. Whenever we open a file, there is a buffer which is automatically associated with the file which we have just opened. But while writing the content of the file, first we go to this buffer. This is a file. First we go to the buffer, and once the buffer is full, the data is flushed into or written into the file. And when we close the file, any unsaved data here is transferred to the file. So we have flush function, FLUSH, which is used to force transfer of data from buffer to the file. And you will find this function in C, C++. You might have used fflush.stdin type of thing.